What's up everyone? So today we're going to talk about my TBR for April. We're going to talk about my wrap up for March, which I'm actually probably going to have to finish filming tomorrow because I'm still just finishing like the little bit of a book I have left over. And I'm going to tell you about my upcoming readathon, although it's not quite an announcement because I'm still working on some details. We went away this past weekend for Alice's birthday and I was really just like focusing on all that, so I didn't get a chance to finish everything that I wanted to do for the upcoming readathon in order to announce for this video, but figured I would tell you guys kind of about it and give you the link to the Discord so that way you're in there and you're ready for when the first round actually happens. This might be a long video just because I am consolidating everything into one video, so I'll put chapters on the bottom so that way you can scroll, you know, if you wanted to pay attention to my TBR or my wrap up or whatever. Okay, first off, let me quick tell you about my upcoming readathon. I am hoping to have a round in May. I am starting a readathon called the Sunrise to Sunset Readathon, where we will be reading from sunrise to sunset. This is going to happen bi-monthly and it's just one day readathon. I really wanted to do like a short type of readathon, but as a mom, it is really hard to do those 24-hour readathons that a lot of people are doing, or 48-hour readathons, because I need my sleep and there's no way I'm gonna prioritize reading over sleeping. That's just not gonna happen. What's gonna be really fun about it is that I will be waking up in time for my sunrise here on the East Coast, and I'm actually going to do a live reading sprint of watching us watch my sunrise and then also reading probably until Alice would wake up. So I would say probably about an hour or so, just depending upon when I'm actually doing this. Obviously with like seasons changing, the amount of hours that this readathon will be is going to be all different, which I actually really like. I'm gonna be reading all throughout the day then, and then I will also host live sprints during Alice's nap times throughout the day. And then I also thought it'd be really cool to watch the sunset happening. So I would probably do a live during that time. I'm still working on a lot of the details of like what prompts I wanna do and stuff, but I figured I would just tell you guys so you can look forward to it. There is a Discord down below, which you definitely wanna join. I also have the Backlist Readathon Discord down below. I just did host that, but that way, you know, for upcoming, you can always join the Discord and then, you know, you'll be notified when the next round of the Backlist Readathon will happen. So I hope you guys are super excited for that first round. I will definitely keep you in the details once I finalize everything. April's just a really busy month for me. I'm trying to juggle as much as I can. Okay, let's do my TBR first because that's what I have the most fun with. I love playing my TBR game. If you don't know, I actually sell my TBR game on Etsy. I have that link down below. I have all the different genres now. So I actually have my deck of cards. I have tins of each genre. So, you know, if you go to my shop and you can buy the For Your Shelf tin, you can buy the library, you can buy the fantasy, you can buy the historical fiction. Just last month, I put out a spring deck and I put out a historical fiction deck. I added both of those here. Today, I think I did 5 spring, 5 historical fiction, 5 from your shelf, 5 library. I think I only did 3 thriller and 3 romance. And then I did, I think 3 book covers that are like my NetGalley book covers, and 3 Kindle prompts. I think that's what I ended up doing. So they're all like shuffled in this deck, and this is what we will be picking from. I also have draw cards, which makes it super fun to actually draw from my deck. And then I'm going to pick a reward and a punishment. So this is just something I do for fun. If I finish all the TBR cards that I picked for the month, then I actually get to do my reward. If I don't finish them, then I have to do the punishment. So I am shuffling the rewards here, and let's pick a reward. Buy yourself a book. Wow. I don't know the last time I've bought myself a book before. I really should add some in here that's like, buy Alice a book. I feel like I buy her books way more than I do for me. Now for the punishments. Let's see what my punishment will be. Read a book this month out of your comfort zone. Okay, so this will actually be my punishment if I don't finish my TBR here in April. So I would be adding this to my May TBR if I don't read my TBR, if that makes sense. So like this is for May as my punishment. Does that mean I would have to read Fourth Wing? Let's go ahead and start picking. I think I'm going to only pick 4 cards, but we're gonna see just how well they fit, because I have some like themed reading vlogs I want to do this month. And so if the cards that I'm picking can fit within books that I want to do for those reading vlogs, then I can pick maybe 1 more card, but we'll just have to see. All right, so first, draw 4 cards and choose based on your current mood. I always like that one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we have spring, read a rom-com. We have a library, read a book you wanted to buy but decided to loan from the library. Then we have another library, read a book you are excited to read. And then we have read a book written by a new to you author. Ooh, oh, and this is from my shelf actually, this pink one. So, okay, I really gotta think, like, what do I wanna do? Maybe this is actually harder. I'm always like, oh, if I get this card, like you get to like choose in between 4 cards, like that's great. No, my decision paralysis is like too hard, it's too hard. I just need a card given to me. For some reason, I am like really wanting to read the rom-com, like this beautiful spring card. I'm gonna check my NetGalley first because I don't know if I want to do a rom-com that I have on NetGalley or if I want to do one that I have from my shelf. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I have been on an Abby Jimenez kick. So I could either choose Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and I read Part of Your World last month. I'm almost done with Just for the Summer. I really love her writing a lot, so this is a contender. Or I could read Till There Was You, which is on my NetGalley arc. This one is about a culinary student who is becoming an executive chef in a Michelin star restaurant. I kind of want to go with this one just because it's like the writing style is like safe for me, but then at the same time I should probably read the NetGalley arc because this book already came out in February. Let me see if I can get the audios for these. Okay, because April is a busy month and I am not able to find an audiobook for Till There Was You, I'm going to read Yours Truly. This sounds really good. Love her writing style, and with the audio I'll be able to actually get it read like while I'm doing other things. So that took a long time for just 1 book. All right, draw. Fan cards out and pick 1 at random. Ooh, this is a lot of cards to fan out. Okay, I'm just fanning them out down here without trying to look like at the screen. Okay. I feel like I would never get to the bottom, so let's pick something closer to the bottom. Maybe this. Oh no. Read a book your library has featured out on a shelf. Good thing I'm going to the library today. Okay, so that one, we're just gonna have to go to the library today to look at that. Okay, Alice and we got really wet because it is pouring outside, but we're at the library and I'm going to look through the shelves for the books to see what I can pick from here. So last time I felt like I didn't spend enough time looking at them and then I had to go home and like re-look at everything. So I'm gonna try and look at things better this time. Oh, I just read that actually in March. Oh, I think I used to have that on my TBR. I could always re-look that up. I think I already tried to read that before. Oh, I could always do this one because I have this on NetGalley. So that's a good contender, I guess. Although I did hear it's not that great. Nothing there. This is a good contender too because I like Rebel Wilson. All right, I'm gonna think about it. Okay, so on the featured shelf, I think I decided to go with this, The Wind Will Catch You. I looked it up on Goodreads and they had like really good reviews, but it's about like these foster kids that I guess like lived by themselves for 2 years. I don't know, it just sounds really good. And I really like picking out books that I've never heard of before. I did that last month and it ended up, I gave it 4 stars. So that's for that. Okay, all right, let's keep going. Okay, roll a die and draw the same number of cards. Roll. 3. So the problem with this card is that I have to read all 3 cards. So that means that I'm picking 5 books now, and I just literally have to read these first top 3. That's the card I don't like. I have to have someone else go to the library for me and pick a book for me to read. And then Alice is gonna pick books. I have a stack here. So she's gonna pick between Magic Hour by Kristen Hanna, The 4 Winds by Kristen Hanna, that's a big book, The Midwife of Hope River, Sworn to Silence, and Happiness Falls. There were some other books I had on the list that I wanted her to choose from, but they weren't available here at this library. So we're gonna do these ones and we'll see what she picks. Alice, you wanna get a book? Which one? That one? You want mommy to read this one? The 4 Winds by Kristen Hanna? Okay, I'll read that one. Oh, and this one? The Midwife of Hope River? Is that a good book? Okay. All right, all done, thanks. Oh, 2 spring ones. Read a book with flowers on the cover. All right, I gotta do research for that. And then the other spring, read a book with pastel colors on the cover. Ooh, man, okay. Okay, it took me a while of searching to figure out what I wanted to read for these prompts. And it's like a stormy day, so the lighting might have changed, but I actually hardly have any books that have flowers on the cover. But I'm going to do This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I meant to read this a couple months ago because it was being published, I think in February, and I have this on NetGalley and I did not get to read it yet. And I did read and enjoy the first one before I let go, I think. So I think I'm gonna do this for flowers on the cover. That was some loud thunder. I guess Alice is still sleeping. Ooh, the one with pastels on the cover. I've actually been wanting to read this for a long time, and this would be a good memoir to have to like break up everything. I'm gonna do the Rural Diaries. Rural Diaries by Hilary Burton Morgan. Beloved actress and the star of One Tree Hill. While Hilary's hectic lifestyle as an actress in New York and Los Angeles gave her a comfortable life, it did not fulfill her spiritually or emotionally. After the birth of their first son, she and her husband went to work on a farm and began a new chapter in their lives. She chronicles her inspiring story of farm life, chopping wood, making dandelion wine, building chicken coops. That sounds so fun. Okay, well, not fun for me, fun to read about. I like that. So I'm gonna do that one because it has like pastel sky. Okay, that's all the cards I'm gonna pick for now because I still have a couple other books on my list to read. So I did get sent a copy of The Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth, which I'm super excited about. And so this I'm definitely gonna be reading this month because it comes out April, I think it's 23rd. April 23rd. I've heard really good things about this from people that have already read it early. For as long as they can remember, Jessica, Nora, and Alicia have been told how lucky they are, rescued from family tragedies and raised by a well-regarded foster mother on a farming estate. They were giving an elusive second chance at a happy family life. But their childhood wasn't the fairy tale everyone thinks it was, and when a body is discovered under the home they grew up in, the foster sisters find themselves thrust into the spotlight as key witnesses. So I'm excited about this one. And I have 2 buddy reads in my Patreon. I always do a like fiction buddy read, and then we do like a non-fiction self-help type buddy read, because I have this thing called like Create Your Year, and basically we focus on like kind of like a New Year's resolution every single month. So I have themes throughout the whole year. January was like finance, February was like glow up. This month we're actually doing homemaking, and so the book that we're reading together is The Life-Giving Home, Creating a Place of Belonging and Becoming. And I actually have some of my patrons that already read this like before, and they absolutely love this book. So I bought a copy because they were like, you're gonna want to keep this like forever and ever. I do think it's in sections, so you can do it like throughout the whole year, because it has like January, March. So that is really cool. I can't wait, because I love the idea of like I love how a home is welcoming and comforting. I want to have more kids, and I just want to create like, you know, that safe home feeling. So I'm very excited about this. Then the fiction buddy read that we're doing is Miracle Creek, which I'm excited because I've actually never read a book by this author yet. So this is a literary courtroom thriller about an immigrant family and a young single mother accused of killing her autistic son. That just sounds absolutely amazing. Angie Kim has another book. I think it came out maybe last year, like the end of last year. I think it's called Happiness Falls, but that one also sounds really good. So if I read Miracle Creek and I enjoy the writing, then I definitely want to read Happiness Falls. I think this is a really good TBR for this month. I have a mixture of everything. I mean, pretty much we have historical fiction, we have some nonfiction memoirs, we have some thrillers, we have some romance. I feel like it's a really good mix, and I'm hoping that I do just as good as I did in March. Okay, let's talk about the books that I read in March. So I actually think I read 7 books. I did not get a chance to write my reviews on Goodreads yet, to update my reading journal, nothing like that. I'm so far behind, but I am surprised that I read 7 books, because that has been the most books that I have read so far this year, and even all of last year, like within 1 month. I am glad that I prioritized reading over maybe like keeping up with my reading journal and stuff. And then I'm actually almost finishing my 8th book. I was really trying to get it done in time for this video, because it still does count for my March TBR. I'm over 50% of the way through, but I have no audiobook, and I'm only reading it on Kindle because of it being an ARC. It's just really hard for me to get books read if I don't have an audiobook, because I have an 11-month-old baby. Nap time are the only time that I would actually be able to like sit down and read, but a lot of times I'm filming a video, or I'm editing a video, or I'm trying to get some organization done or something. So my time is very limited to just sit down and read. So with this month, I have found that I really need to prioritize books that have audiobooks. As far as my TBR game, I want to talk to you guys because I don't want to say bent some of the rules, but it's something that I didn't think about before that I think is very helpful with getting my rewards or my punishments. So you guys watch me play my game every single month, and so these are the cards that I had for March. Now I always pick books to fit with the cards, and then if I read my entire TBR, I get to do the reward, and if I don't, I have to do the punishment. There were a couple books that were not fitting within the videos that I wanted to do, especially like the exclusive ones for Patreon, even though I had picked books like from these cards. So what I did is I still used these cards and made sure that the book fit the card prompt, but I had changed the book from what I had picked in my TBR video. I think that should be okay, because I'm actually still getting my prompt done, even though I changed the books. I'm bending the rules a little bit because I actually completed every single one of these, except for the fact that I am over 50% of the way through my last book. But I had to film this video for you guys. I am just going to congratulate myself and say that I completed my entire TBR, because I'm actually really enjoying the book that I'm reading. It's literally just because I don't have the audiobook. Otherwise, I would have definitely finished it by now. For reference, my punishment for March was going to be to hand wash all of your dishes for 1 week. I knew that out of all the punishments I've gotten so far, this is the one I really did not want. I actually grew up where we did not have a dishwasher my entire life, and if we did have a dishwasher in a house, we weren't allowed to use it except for literally like Christmas Day. My mom always believed that hand washing was best and that dishwashers wasted money. So I've been washing dishes for my entire life. I also have lived in apartments where we had no dishwasher and I had to hand wash dishes. But I love cooking. I literally cook probably 99% of our meals and mostly from scratch. Plus, my daughter drinks bottles, so there is no way that I want to hand wash bottles and all of the dishes. There's no way. I have no clue what order these go in, but my first card was to put 5 books in a circle and spin the bottle, and that was for my shelf. And I actually had spun Verity, which I did read during the Backlist Readathon. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. This was a reread for me because I read it when the day it came out, New Year's Day, like, I don't know, 2017 or something like that. But I remember not really liking it. I know everyone raved about it, but I read the copy that had the extra chapter in it this time, and I really liked the extra chapter. There were some things that obviously made it where it couldn't be a 5-star, but I actually really enjoyed the book, so I was kind of leaning between like a 4, 4.5. I think without the extra chapter I would have done a 4, but with the extra chapter I'm doing a 4.5. I actually talk about all of my thoughts for Verity. I did daily vlogs during the Backlist Readathon, so I talked about it extensively, so I'll link the playlist down below so you can check out every single one of those videos, because I talked about all 4 books that I read, and I don't want to get too much into them just because this video will be super long. Okay, so that card I did, that was done. All right, then we had a from your shelf, read a book with the as the first word. Again, for the Backlist Readathon, I read The Lost Girls of Willowbrook. This was on my shelf. It was actually an arc that I got like 2 years ago. Now, I actually didn't like this book that much. I think I ended up giving it 2 stars at the end. It just was not what I thought it was. I thought I was gonna learn more about the Willowbrook school. I guess I was leaning more towards it being like a non-fiction story, but it's a fiction story and it feels very young adult to me. And some people that have read it say it's a thriller, but I definitely didn't think it was a thriller. Maybe it's like a historical fiction mystery. I don't know. It was really slow. There were no thrills to me. And again, I have a lot more of my thoughts in those daily vlogs. And for the card, read a most recent release from the library. I actually went to the library and I had first picked out a book called Anna that I saw on the new shelf. Now, when I got home, I decided I did not want to read this book. So here's one of the times where I bent the rules. I actually looked through my footage from when I was at the library, and I sat down on Goodreads and like looked up some of the books that I had like pulled out like in that footage. And I ended up wanting to read The Beautiful and the Wild, which is a new release. It came out, I think, December of 2023, so just a couple months ago. And this is like kind of an isolated thriller. It's about a husband who keeps his wife like kidnapped and in isolation in Alaska. It was a very interesting story. I actually ended up giving it 4 stars. I did an exclusive reading vlog for my patrons. I don't know if you know, but you're missing out on some exclusive content over on my Patreon, and it's only $4.99 a month to join. But I actually have never heard anyone talk about this book. There were some faults with the ending, like I couldn't give it a full 5 stars because it didn't have the oomph that I wanted. But I really enjoyed how different this story was. It was super easy to read. I devoured it because it was so fast to listen to. And I really like the themes that were within this book. There's so much more to it than just a woman being kidnapped by her husband in Alaska. That's just like the tagline that like the first chapter just really brings you in and you're like, what is going on here? All right, my last couple cards, I had a library book of read a book with a creepy cover. I actually read Black Sheep. I got this from Libby, like through the library, the audiobook. I feel like this has a really creepy cover. It has this like weird devil sheep thing, but I actually did not like this book. I think I ended up giving it 2 stars. I also have an exclusive reading vlog for this and the next book that I'm going to talk about that is exclusive to Patreon. But this one was just way different than I thought. It was actually really easy to read and listen to, and it went really fast, but I felt like there was no point in the story, and I didn't know it was about Satanists, and it just didn't make sense to me. Like, it was about this girl that left her like family and group because they're Satanists, and she's been gone for like 6 years, and then she gets this like wedding invitation that is her ex-boyfriend getting married to her best friend, and she decides to go back like for this wedding. And in my head, I'm just like, if this place is so traumatic to you, why would you go back? There's like a lot of weird stuff that happens after that. Like, it started out as like a normal book, and I know this is horror. It just didn't make sense to me. It just felt all over the place. And then I got to the ending and I was like, that's it? Like, what did I even read right now? Okay, the last cards that I have, they actually go together. Now, I do have a couple other books that I read that weren't even included in my TBR, which I will talk about, but this is just to show you that I actually was finishing my TBR card game. So I had draw another card, but the prompt has to be a book from your Kindle. So then I had drawn this card: read a book you are most excited to read. Oh, I forgot to say on the last one that I had originally picked Marrow by Taryn Fisher, but again, I had to like re-switch over my TBR in order to like get this stuff done, so that's why I picked Black Sheep. For this one, I had picked Mothered by Zoja Stage, but I actually decided to change it to Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And this is the book that I'm actually currently reading, that I'm over 50% of the way through, but I didn't have an audio or anything, and so I just have not been able to finish it as quickly as I thought, but it's really good actually. So I will try and talk about it in maybe like my April wrap up and stuff like that, or I'll probably post about it actually on like Instagram and stuff, since this is an arc that I got from NetGalley. But I am really enjoying it. I think it's probably gonna be a 4-star when I'm done. Depending upon the ending, maybe it could get a 5-star, but it's been so fun to read. I guess some people could think it's like magical realism, but it actually makes sense that it's just like coincidence. But it's about this guy and this girl where they find out that they each have the same thing, where like every single time they date someone, as soon as they're like, they break up with that person goes and finds like the one. And so they're like, oh, hey, let's like date each other. So maybe it'll like cancel it out and we'll just like break up, and then eventually we'll go find like the one for us. But it's really cute. Like, Abby is so funny with her writing, and I'm just having a really good time reading it. So unfortunately I didn't get to finish it in time for this video. But those were all of the cards for my TBR card game. Again, I still have other books that I read that I'll talk about. I get my reward, finally, for once. So spend a relaxing day at a park or trail and pack your own picnic. That sounds really, really nice, and I would love to do that with Alice. So I'll have to do some research on like where I want to go, and maybe I could do a vlog for that so you can just like see it happen and stuff. I feel like that would be really fun. Okay, so there were 3 other books that I read that were included. One was a buddy read, and 2 were from the Backlist Readathon. For the Backlist Readathon, I read A Family Secret, which was my shocking true story of surviving a childhood in hell. I gave this 5 stars. It was absolutely phenomenal. I listened to the audiobook, and again, if you want to hear so much more of my thoughts in the daily vlogs, I talk about it. But this is a very, very, very dark book about a young child being sexually abused by her entire family. So many trigger warnings. It is not going to be for everyone. It literally gave me goosebumps. It made me want to throw up. Like, it was just absolutely terrible, but I just love reading memoirs about people's real lives and just seeing like things like this happen to real people. Like, this is real. Like, people go through this stuff. So I really enjoyed that one, if you know what I mean, in loose terms. And then the other book that I read for the Backlist Readathon was Crying in H Mart. I ended giving this 4 stars. I really enjoyed this memoir. It's very much into like a troubled mother-daughter relationship, and it's about her mother dying from cancer and like how she feels about it. So I do think you would have to like relate to it personally in order to enjoy it. But yeah, more thoughts, again, you know, real-time reading and everything in those daily vlogs. And then the last book that I read, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I actually did this as a buddy read in Patreon, and I ended up giving this 3 stars. It was good and funny, but there were definitely just problems that I had with it. More so that I just felt like it was very unrealistic, with the main character being a doctor. She was just so dumb in the book. Like, she didn't even know how to make a cup of coffee. She didn't know how to open the garage door when the power was off. Like, I just think that she would have been able to think a little bit better. And then the ending to this is just very happy-go-lucky. All my problems are solved, tied up in a little bow. Like, I had a good time reading it. There were times that I was laughing out loud. I love her writing, but it definitely just didn't hit the way that I'm really enjoying Just for Summer. I had kind of explained this to one of my friends over on Patreon, because I know a lot of people read romance because, you know, they want to get out of the struggles that they have in the real world, and they just want to read something like happy-go-lucky. But I actually wish that they wrote like a subgenre of romance that was realistic, that didn't always have happy endings, that really showed trials and tribulations and got you in your emotions, because I would be a main target audience for that. I actually don't read to escape. I read because I love reading about things that I can relate to. I love relating to characters in a book when they're going through struggles. Like, one of my favorite books of all time is Colleen Hoover's All Your Perfects. I read that. That was a couple years into my infertility, and I just absolutely love that book so much because it is so dark and sad, and yet at the same time, like, the ending is like, it's not like they got everything that they wanted, but it's not like, you know, you're sitting there at the end and being like, well, this was a waste of time. Like, it's a really nice happy medium. You know, in romances, everybody doesn't have to be married and get pregnant at the end, you know? Let's give myself a pat on the back because I did so well with my reading this month. I deserve that reward. I really pushed myself. All right, I should probably end this video. It's probably gonna be so long, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for coming over to this channel in order to watch my bookish content. I'll see you guys in another video soon. Bye, everyone.